Boruto and Kawaki's karma has resonated many times throughout the story, but the only time the resonance did not take place was during their future fight. Here Boruto can be seen willingly synchronizing the karma with the Jogen, so what made him go from fearing this power to obtaining its master control? Well, there are many potential answers to this question, but if I had to think of the best case scenario, it would be data drain. This concept would single-handedly explain the fate of Momoshiki, how Boruto mastered the karma seal, and maybe even the next major awakening of this power. It's actually interesting as we are going to use real-life scientific concepts to understand the connection between Otsutsukis and humans, and how it all leads to Boruto gaining the master control of Momoshiki's power. So if you wanna enter my realm of brain-teasing Boruto theories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let's begin. When the karma was first introduced in Boruto, I used to think that its role and purpose could have something to do with the real-life concept of karma, which brings forth the idea of a person's deeds deciding their destiny. So good people get good karma and hence have good experiences, evil ones get punished for their deeds, making them go through some tough times. But this bubble of my thesis did not last long when I read the explanation for how the karma works. Turns out it was nothing like the real-life concept of karma, rather it was just a chip used by the highly advanced Otsutsuki race to reincarnate themselves. When an Otsutsuki is nearing death, they can implant the karma seal on a compatible host. With the passage of time, the seal overrides the genetic data of the poor vessel, helping the Otsutsuki to get reborn within their body. Momoshiki tried to test his luck with Boruto since he was fascinated with his interesting fate, and for some reasons both the entities were compatible. But the twist happened when Kawaki killed Boruto in fear of Momoshiki's emergence in chapter 66. Well, what was earlier perceived as the end of Boruto or the awakening of the Jogen turned out to be something completely different, and that was evolution. Boruto had now evolved into a pure Otsutsuki thanks to Momoshiki using his own DNA to heal his damaged organs. Well, everything made sense until the end of Boruto's part 1. Momoshiki was disappointed that his future sight failed as his vessel did not allow him to take over, so his dream of becoming Boruto was shattered, but little did anyone know that this would take us to the most brain-teasing mystery of the story. Over 18 chapters of the time skip have passed, and apart from a few cryptic clues here and there are no signs of Momoshiki's return in the story. It all goes even crazy when you realize how Boruto freaked out at the karma's resonance, which got Kawaki more serious at killing him. But the prologue tells a different story. Boruto no longer thinks before using the karma seal, and Kawaki has given up the mission to kill him as well. So what kind of twist has led to such a big change of heart for both of them? Well, the answer is what I call the data drain of the karma seal, and to understand this, we will need to go through the resurrection arts of the Otsutsuki from a scientific point of view. So looking at the karma seal from a research-based standpoint, it all starts from a strange diamond-shaped mark that the Otsutsukis implant on their compatible vessel. This mark is said to contain the DNA of the host Otsutsuki, which then starts to overtake the vessel's genetic code by storm. But what exactly is this karma mark? What properties does it possess which are able to turn a human into Otsutsuki? Well, think of it as an ability to store a person's entire genetic and cognitive data, which is their DNA, memories and personality, into a microscopic nanostructure. This genetic blueprint is then injected into a vessel using advanced nanobots, which are capable of rewriting the vessel's DNA and neural pathways. As these nanobots slowly unpack the donor Otsutsuki's data, the vessel's body begins to physically transform, adopting the donor's genetic traits. Simultaneously, their brain is reprogrammed to mirror the donor's memories, thought patterns and personality. Eventually, the vessel's original identity is completely overwritten, effectively resurrecting the Otsutsuki within a new body. This process combines genetic engineering, neural mapping, and nanotechnology, blurring the line between individuality and immortality for the celestial race. So that was how the karma seal would work if it was a scientific instrument, and by using this outline, we will uncover the mystery of karma's fate. So now let's understand the truth behind Boruto's revival by Momoshiki in the light of science. Basically, the vessel had went through fatal organ damage, which could have even caused their death, and since that meant the death of Momoshiki as well, the host quickly decided to use his own DNA to save the vessel's life, which also meant sacrificing his resurrection for parasitic existence. The manga showed us Momoshiki appearing and magically healing Boruto, but what exactly happened in this scene? Well, here's what I believe could be the case. When the vessel's body began to shut down after the fatal blow, some specialized genetic nanobots embedded in its bloodstream were activated by Momoshiki after receiving the distress signal. These nanobots contained the complete genetic blueprint of the host, stored in a highly compressed encrypted format. Upon activation, the nanobots rapidly flooded the vessel's cells, deleting damaged or unstable DNA and rewriting it with the genetic code of the host. And this genetic override effectively reprograms the vessel's body to function as a new hybrid organism using pure genetic instructions of Momoshiki as the template. So there were a few immediate results which took place after the Otsutsuki used this last resort card. First off, the vessel's dying cells were restructured and repaired using the superior DNA of the host. This led to the complete reprogramming of the vessel's genetic structure, making it a genetic replica of the Otsutsuki's biology. I hope you are enjoying my science lessons on Otsutsuki physiology, even though I wasn't that good at this subject in school. But if it comes to something that feeds my interest, then I find a way to come up with something desirable. Like, have you thought the compatibility between humans and Otsutsukis? I think it's first a biological thing, then an exploitative one. The Otsutsukis can definitely mate with humans and have hybrid children, which acts as a proof of genetic compatibility, explaining why the karma works on humans. But this also leads to a possibility for the Otsutsukis and humans to share a common ancestor. And taking notes from the special panel of volume 1, which talked about a god Otsutsuki, let's call him Kami, who belonged to a now extinct universe and is responsible for the creation of the present one, it's very likely that this Kami being was the proto-Otsutsuki who existed as a highly advanced life form with the potential to manipulate and store genetic information beyond conventional limits, a blueprint to what later got turned into highly advanced techniques like the Kama Seal and other Shinjutsu. Kami may have explored and seeded life across various planets, including Earth, leading to the birth of the early humans. However, these seeding experiments could have varied in outcomes based on planetary environments. On Earth, this seeding resulted in diverse, balanced ecosystems and even intelligent life. On harsher and more energy-rich planets, something much darker may have evolved. Let's say creatures like the Tentails. So hit the like button if you found this possibility interesting, and now let's move on to our main point. So now that we are done with understanding the karma's impact on Boruto's life in the light of science, let's understand how he has mastered the seal in the future, which would even explain the fate of Momoshiki as well. First off, let's start with how the situation could turn out in Boruto's favor. Right now, he has two big obstacles in front of him: the fear of getting overtaken by Momoshiki if he relies on the karma, and the inability to undergo his full potential, again due to the possibility of losing control. So the only way for him to master the karma is by eliminating the threatening agent, which in this case is Momoshiki. Now the twist is that there is no need for him to seek a solution to the Otsutsuki problem elsewhere, cause he's about to get rid of the threat for good at his own. In the realm of advanced biophysics, the idea of quantum entanglement suggests that two particles can become linked in such a way that changes made to one particle would instantly affect the other regardless of their distance. Keeping the thing in mind, if the host and vessel are genetically and energetically entangled during the process of becoming one, the vessel becoming a pure version of the host may collapse the existence of the host altogether. During the genetic override, the host and vessel become deeply connected at both the molecular and energy levels. The karmic nanobots not only transfer DNA but also create a synchronized link between the two. As the vessel's body adapts using the genetic blueprint of the host, it becomes a perfect copy, identical in both genetics and energy. However, nature doesn't allow two identical beings to exist at the same time, which creates a conflict that reality cannot sustain. And by this we can conclude that Momoshiki's soul could have slowly extinguished in the 3-year period, which explains why he no longer appears in the story. And once Boruto would realize this, it could mark the beginning of him mastering the Kama seal without the fear of losing control. Now there are a few possible contradictions to this theory that I would like to address. First off, you could say that Momoshiki's existence lingers within Boruto as a soul, but if you think about it, that won't make much sense. He is still reduced to the karma, and every time Boruto talks to him is nothing more than a state of unexplained hallucination. He used to talk to the vessel every now and then, giving insights on what's happening around and the worst possible future. But now that he has went completely silent, alongside the fact that we cannot label his existence as the host of Boruto, it can be assumed that the laws of quantum reality have made him disappear once for all. Now this answers quite a lot of things like why Kawaki has given up on killing Boruto, why the karma did not resonate during the flash forward fight, plus the reason for Boruto to use this seal fearlessly even before he rushed towards Kawaki. Now it's only about time when Boruto would realize that there are no consequences of using the karma seal and he should just use it to gain an edge over the present enemies. The fact that Kawaki no longer sees Boruto as a threat in the future indicates the revelation taking place in front of him, which means they are going to form a real alliance against their common enemy, and in the middle of working together, they would eventually find out the truth behind Momoshiki's absence. Now, one of the questions which is really important when it comes to Boruto's host Otsutsuki and the Karma Awakening revolves around the monster being absent from Kashin Koji's visions of the future. Have you thought why it has been like that? Koji should have been able to warn Boruto about the consequences of using the Karma seal, but it seems like the decision to not use this power is something that Boruto decided on his own. This means Kashin Koji couldn't see a future where Momoshiki takes over and wreaks havoc. Well, this could only be because of two reasons primarily. First and foremost, the hallucinative conversations that the vessel and the host have completely bypass the omnipresent Shinjutsu of Aida. So using the same logic, we can assume that Kashin Koji will never be able to look at the mental encounters between both the people. But what about the takeovers? There is no way Momoshiki wouldn't have taken over in any of the futures foreseen by Koji. Well, the answer lies within the Otsutsuki's own future side. He must have calculated that interfering in the current events would only make the matters worse for Boruto, which would also take away his only medium of communicating with the outside world. So in order to ensure the safety of his vessel, he may have decided to not take him over, which explains his absence from Koji's visions. I personally want more of this character in the story because he was such an awesome addition in the first part. The quirky teasers and sneak peeks that he gave about the forthcoming plot twist definitely made the part 1 of the story a lot more interesting. But does he really deserve to get eliminated all of a sudden, only because of some quantum entanglement? What if he's planning to come out at the most unexpected moment just to bring a 360-degree turnover to the plot? Well, in the middle of the tensions between the Shinjus, the revival plan of Amado and Kawaki's limitless form, what possible value could Momoshiki bring to the table? I'm not saying that he is just dead and there is no other way out for him, but there is possibly no role for him to play in the story at present. Remember the time when he emerged to stab Sasuke only after Ishiki was dealt with? I think his next emergence would be fueled with the same energy, based on how he values the life of his precious vessel. So instead of making matters worse for himself by emerging, he is choosing silence over violence for the long-term benefit. My next video will be all about Momoshiki's death, where I would rate theories based on their likelihood of coming true. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. You can also watch these videos for more amazing theories. I will see you next time.